Tonight, a bold new frontier in space exploration. Elon Musk claims SpaceX could send a rocket to Mars next year with human boots on the red planet as early as 2029. The ultimate goal, a self-sustaining city on Mars within our lifetime. The current plan for SpaceX to launch an uncrewed mission in 2026, testing the Starship's ability to land and sustain life. And if all goes well, humans could follow just 3 years later. So are Musk's ambitions realistic or just science fiction? To break it all down, we are bringing in one of the greatest minds in the field, Dr. Michio Kaku. He's a theoretical physicist, futurist, and one of the world's leading voices on space exploration. Dr. Kaku, what a pleasure to see you again. Thanks for making the time.
Glad to be here.
Let's get right to it. Is Elon Musk's Mars timeline feasible, or is he reaching for the stars too soon?
Well, not only is it feasible, but just like Christopher Columbus, Elon Musk could go down in history as somebody who opened up a new branch of the human race. Because we're talking about the potential colonization of the red planet. Now, we've been there. Our instruments have roamed across the red planet. We know we can do it. It's just a question of politics. It's a question of political will. And it's a question whether or not we can handle all the potential problems that face us. But think about that, opening up potentially a new branch of the human race, which is what Columbus did.
It's an incredible thing. And you mentioned political will. I mean, Musk has some friends in high places at this moment, but you mentioned hurdles. What are some of the biggest issues that astronauts are going to face on the red planet?
Well, first of all, it's very dangerous. We're not talking about going to the moon. 3 days and you can go to the moon on a conventional rocket. A round trip mission to Mars would take 2 years, up to, let's say, 9 months to get to the red planet, a few months for reconnaissance and do tests. And then you have to wait for the stars to align so that you can come back for another 9 months on the return voyage. And so, in other words, 2 years on the red planet, not just a few weeks like on the moon, but we're talking about a whole new world opening up.
You've said that the mission to Mars has many stages. The astronauts have to build a base, they have to make it self-sustaining, and I really want you to explain this part, that scientists may send satellites to beam energy to Mars and melt the polar ice caps there and terraform Mars so it becomes like Earth. Tell me more about this. Does this technology currently exist? Do you think Mars could be transformed into a planet like Earth?
Yes, it's all possible, but it's very costly. It'll be done in 3 stages. The first stage is when you start to make a base, a primitive base that you can start to do experiments. And the step number 2 is you have to grow crops. You have to be able to sustain yourself on the red planet. That means food and water. That's step 2. Step 3 is you need energy and you have to terraform the entire planet. And that means satellites. Satellites have to be launched, which will beam sunlight down on the planet Mars to melt the polar ice caps. So literally, we are talking about reforming a new world in outer space to terraform Mars so that it can be suitable for human habitation. And just remember, Mars is therefore an insurance policy. If something bad happens to the Earth, it's good to have a new branch of the human race out there waiting for us to colonize it.
Dr. Kaku, would you go? Would you go to Mars, live out the rest of your life there?
No, I think the glory and all the tributes and all that go to some young person who sees a whole new world out there. And I think they're the ones who deserve the glory.
And we need you here on Earth. With the time we have, I want to ask about one of the theories you're most famous for, the idea of the multiverse. And it's a big topic to get into. But do you believe that science supports our reality is just one in a multiverse, that there are parallel universes unfolding simultaneously?
That's right. Everything we work on in quantum mechanics has to deal with the fact that quantum mechanics allows for parallel worlds. We already have parallel electrons. That's why we have computers. That's why we have the internet. That's why we have television, because electrons can exist in multiple states. So if electrons can do it, why not reality itself? And so we physicists are creating a theory of everything. We know that electrons can exist in parallel states. That's why we have television. That's why we have the electric revolution. But now we want to extend that to the universe. So the universe also could have parallel states. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to be able to meet our counterpart in a regular meeting. No, it means that the universe is probably more complex than we thought, that the universe can exist in multiple states. And that's why we have the quantum theory, which allows us to create the wonders of technology, which seem to defy common sense. Parallel things defy common sense, but that's why we have these wonders that are called electronics.
It's incredible. You've discussed a theory about deja vu, which of course all of us have experienced. What is that theory?
Well, there is a theory of deja vu that maybe, just maybe, you have some kind of passageway to another universe. And of course, this is still controversial. But in physics, we do calculate the probability that you can tunnel. It's called tunneling between universes. Now, electrons do that. That's why we have transistors. That's why we have computers. That's why you're listening to my voice. Electrons can tunnel between these parallel worlds. Now, humans, that's a long shot, but it can't be ruled out. And who has discovered this? Hollywood. All the great super science fiction stories in Hollywood are based in parallel universes. And where did that come from? It comes from the world of quantum physics.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Let's also get your thoughts on the current status of UAPs right now. In an exclusive interview with NewsNation's Ross Coulthart, we have UFO whistleblower and Skywatcher founder Jake Barber revealing that the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office has been to the range to observe UFO scientific testing. Let's take a listen together.
I really do hope that we can have a more functional and opening relationship with them. We are in communication with them. They have been on the range in the past.
The range is where Skywatcher conducts its UAP tracking operations. So, Dr. Kaku, what are your thoughts on the Pentagon's involvement here? Does it show a more active role in investigating the mysteries in our skies?
Well, I think it's about time that the military and also the scientific establishment take the concept of UAPs and UFOs seriously, because who knows? Who knows whether they really are true or not? However, we have three kinds of close encounters. Close encounters of the first kind are what we see today, and that is we see glimmers of things in the sky, light beams shooting from across the heavens. These are close encounters of the first kind. Close encounters of the second kind, we don't have. And that is actual tangible evidence you can touch. The hull of a rocket ship, pieces of rocket parts from outer space. These are close encounters of the second kind. And close encounters of the third kind is when they come out and we shake their hands and we greet them. So far, we're still at the level of close encounters of the first kind. We don't yet have a definitive thing where we can say, here's a piece of rock, here's a piece of transistors, this is the hull of a flying saucer. Mm-hmm. We don't have that yet, unfortunately.
Claims have been made by your peers, Dr. Kaku, that you are the most intelligent mind on this planet, and you really bless us by sharing it with us tonight. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.